Okay, does a 3, 2, 1, and then off you go. So right now it's recording my webcam, which in this case is this guy right up here. So here I am in front of the learning glass, behind the learning glass. Now, how do you use this? Honestly, it is not as difficult as you may think, okay? So you just saw how I started my ARC recording, right? Go into Canvas, click on ARC, record, webcam, off you go. Now, as far as the learning glass is concerned, there are a number of steps that are involved here. And the first step is going to make this a lot easier to see. We need to turn it on. So there are 2 dimmer switches that are connected to the learning glass. One of them turns on the LEDs that are pointed into the pane of glass itself. And what that does is that illuminates the marker. We use these markers, they're called dry erase paint markers. And we use them because they fluoresce and they just really are a nice image. The second dimmer switch is for your spotlight. Built into the frame is a spotlight that will illuminate me, making me a little bit brighter. Now, of course, we have a problem, which is that we have major reflections going on. So Joel, do you want to hit that second light switch there? Okay. All right. So now we can see that the ink is fluorescing really nicely. We've got a spotlight on me so that my students can see me. And one thing I'll point out, so our learning glass, we utilize it in Studio One, BEC1. The original developer of this device was a physics professor from San Diego State University. And he actually does not use it in a studio. He uses it in live classrooms. So he teaches face-to-face classes and uses the learning glass. Now, the implications of that for deliveries like my choice are kind of interesting. But for now, we're kind of stuck with Studio One. So, you know, talk to your deans. All right. Now, the process of how to get things off the ground. Step 1 of using the learning glass is we want to turn on the LEDs and turn off the lights. You can see I'm very skilled at writing backwards. How does that work? So here's the deal. The camera that is recording me right now connects up to this little red box that's hooked up to the tripod. That red box, the only purpose that it has is to flip the image horizontally live. So your students are always seeing a mirror image of what's going on here. What that means is maybe don't write or wear a CVTC t-shirt because it's going to look really confusing as a mirror image. Okay. But we turn on the LEDs, just click, click. I would recommend keeping these at their lowest setting. If I turn up the fluorescent LEDs really bright, it starts to look like a crime scene. You can see it's kind of messy. You can do that, but you see all the marks. If you turn it down, yeah, those marks kind of disappear. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2. Log into Canvas and open ARC, like I did earlier. Log into Canvas, go into ARC, I'm going to do a new recording, and it's recording me right now. Step 3. You want to make sure picture is in frame and markers work. These markers run out. They're reasonable, but they do run out. They squeak, and you have to be okay with that. Don't obsess. Don't obsess over my markers are squeaking. It's okay. Life goes on. Okay. Step 4, I would say do test video. And record. The microphone that's hooked up to this should already automatically be ready to go. The camera is already turned on, ready to go. So you don't need to mess with the camera. You don't need to mess with the microphone. Okay? Once you do these 4 steps, You're ready to rock and roll. When you're doing a Learning Glass video, it's a good idea, if possible, to kind of stand to the side of your writing, as much as you can. And there are some best practices to keep in mind when you're using the Learning Glass. You want to have an idea of what you're going to be writing before you get started. And you can even pre-plan, like I did these images over here, because I know if I try to draw them live, it would be a heck of a lot worse than what they are now, right? And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're articulating your language very clearly. You're speaking in a quiet environment, because if I'm doing a lecture video, it does need to be captioned. And if I do a good job with my audio, then the auto caption feature of ARC is going to make my life a lot easier. So, one more thing I should mention. Picture in frame, the Learning Glass does move. So for those of our faculty who are shorter or taller than others, there's a little switch right here that you can just go up and down with it. So I'm going to finish my video.